welcome back to Coteries of New York. Let's jump right in, shall we? Loud. You wake up. This is not your haven. It's a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs. When you try to stretch your neck, you hit a cold ceiling. You can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin. Or something close enough to it. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any sounds coming from outside. It's entirely dark. And my controller's not working. You focus and divert your blood to boost your physical prowess. I'm getting a lot of technical issues, and I don't know why. The way you imagine it, you're going to Superman punch the lid off this thing. You kick it with all your strength, but only make a dent in it. Hey, it's a start. You keep kicking. With each hit, you make the dent bigger. You manage to make a small crack in the very bottom of the container. A bit of light comes in, and sounds. The crackle of a radio, the hum of a car's engine, a nervous male voice. Object is breaking containment. Please advise. A response you don't quite catch. The brakes of the car. Your container being jostled by some impact. Keep kicking. Keep wrestling out of your prison. The car doors open violently. The sound of a gun cocking. A panicked scream. Operation Compromise! Engaging blank bodies! Shots. Some struggle. Silence. The lid comes off. What the... Well, who'd have thought the Tremere would come to our aid? You're here. That's a relief. Tell me we've hit the jackpot. Now him I expected. Follow us and quick. Seeing their faces is surprising. Even more so in these circumstances. You immediately realize that you're in danger, though, and follow your companions out of the car and into a street in North Bronx. I'm shocked it took this long to get a dictionary definition for ghoul. The van has crashed into another car. A familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul, Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you can call after him. Man, I am gonna be so pissed if you guys can't hear me over the music. I hope that me turning it down on my end affected something, because holy crap, that was loud. Oh wait, ghoul, right. A minion created by giving a bit of vampiric blood to a mortal without draining them of blood first, which would create a vampire instead. I don't trust ghouls. Ever. I'm gonna be right back. One sec. Okay, back. Sorry about that. I was getting kind of paranoid about the music. I don't know. It looks like everything's going fine, but we'll see. The three of you jog away towards the line of trees and take shelter under the branches, just as you hear a chopper approaching. Its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves toward you. Get on the ground! Agathon takes out something for his pocket. These typos are getting to me, man. You hear a soft breaking sound, and then he just disappears from sight. You look to D'Angelo, but he's not there. Must be his disappearing trick again. You're left alone and with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. Well, we're kind of hungry, so should probably try to not use celerity here. Seeing no better option, you just find the nearest bush and dive right under it. Probably not the best or smartest thing to do, but you had to trust your gut. The illumination passes just inches from you, but it's just a pattern of light on the ground. The trees block a good portion of it. It doesn't dwell on you. Doesn't seem like they've spotted you or any of your companions. Either of my companions. I fucked up and didn't get enough of them. The helicopter flies on, the searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity, as your companions once again appear in your proximity. We have an opening. Let's go before the SI decide they want to do another sweep. What are you two doing here? D'Angelo, care to fill him in? Yes, I did a number on you. Your haven got raided and they took you for a ride upstate.
A facility somewhere out of town. Not a place you'd want to be.
The thing
that surprised me most, though, it was Kaiser who contacted us and let us know.
How did the know where I live? I missed that. It's not in the backlog, is it? Nope. Kaiser organized this whole effort? Why would he do that?
Listen, kid, whatever his reasoning, he'll expect something in return, I'm sure. So keep it cool. I want to get out of this in one piece the same way you do.
Speaking of, he's here. Come on. Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby and the back seat opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief, until now.
Hey, fledgling. Missed me?
No, not really, but I will say this, I'm glad you're here.
Well, I'm not overly fond of breaking licks out of covert SI transport, so I consider this an investment. You're here now only because I told your buddies that you were neck deep in shit. That van you were in? One-way ticket to Hurtville, Pennsylvania.
Oh god, those were... Oh, my soul.
I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me. Big.
How the hell do you know the SI broke into my haven and took me away?
Is that a piss poor attempt at an insult, fledgling? I kept eyes on you ever since that little job you did for me in Nolita. You know, in case I needed you for something else, I had to know your comings and goings. I have a good idea why the SI hit you, LawfulStupid. Not that there's not a bunch of good reasons for it. It might have been one of these, for instance.
The screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them is now showing a short looped clip. It's you, getting into a fight, feeding, using one of your powers.
You haven't exactly got the low profile, fledgling. I get it, you're new to this, you didn't know better, yada yada yada. The fact is the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said though, I don't think any of these did you in. Slip-ups happen. Not to you though, right? I always wondered how it is that you can drive in a pompously luxurious limo around New York City and nobody got to you yet. What's your secret? Body doubles? Decoy cars?
Oh, sorry about the key clicking. Had to clear my throat. My Nosferatu voice, hell on the lungs. Kaiser smiles, going for that anthropomorphic piranha look you saw a few times before. He really is just fucking creepy to look at. Especially around the mouth. Like, what's up with that? Oh, sorry, I got mesmerized by that. Like, where the corners of his mouth should be. Like, ah. Weird.
You do know what killed the cat, don't you, Mr. Finch?
D'Angelo freezes and scratches his face, looking fiercely at the other Nosferatu. You notice his hands are shaking.
Well, do you? Stop flaking on the upholstery and answer, or should I use your given name too? Yeah, I know why the cat croaked. You would, wouldn't you?
You've never seen D'Angelo serve anyone a death stare quite like the one he's shooting Kaiser now.
As much as I enjoy tempering your overinflated ego, we're nearing our destination, so I think I'll move on. The reason why I need you walking and talking, LawfulStupid, is to test a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you were tasked to do. So first things first. Here.
He hands you a phone. The number is already chosen for you. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who is this? It's me, Sophie. LawfulStupid, are you okay?
They're fine and dandy.
Kaiser, what are you doing on this line?
What do you think? It's my phone your protege is using, so keep it snappy. Operating a secure network ain't cheap. Come on, LawfulStupid, spit it out.
Agathon and D'Angelo saved me from the Second Inquisition, That's Sophie. Tripping all over this. I only got out because of them. Your companions look to one another knowingly. SI? That's what I feared. Listen, the plan, we need to do it, tonight. The Inquisition's involved and you broke out. They'll be looking for you, so we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but Kaiser, are you still listening?
Would I tell you if I wasn't?
LawfulStupid, call this number from where you've visited before last we spoke. Where you've visited before last we spoke? What the fuck does that mean? I'll come pick you up. She hangs up.
And that's that. Well, LawfulStupid, care to elaborate? Never did tell me what kind of work you did for Langley. Don't play coy, D'Angelo. You must have figured at least some of it out. Don't worry. We'll have plenty of time to compare notes after we let our mutual acquaintance carry on with their night. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop, LawfulStupid, is right here. Is right about here.
Almost had it. The car comes to a stop and the door opens. Outside, you see the streetlight leading to the Solids and Stripes, Torque's Pool Pub.
Well, you need me to kick you out?
What about Agathon and D'Angelo?
What about them? They're staying right where they are, and we're going to have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their havens just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you've got. You want to say bye to your buddies before you go? That's fine by me, but that schedule of yours is pretty hectic. So you better do it now and scram.
You thank both of your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gestures and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high a price for helping you. The Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, just the bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar screen. Random thing. I need to see a Bogart movie at some point. I've somehow gone my entire life without ever doing so. I know, you're ashamed of me. Slightly more so than usual. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first. Yes? I'm here. Are you on your way? Yes, we'll be there in about 15 minutes. Notify Torque if he's not there. We need to talk fast and move. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged. Nona's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting? Actually, do you serve the special stuff? The bartender raises an eyebrow. The special reserve, you mean? Sorry, I can only serve that for a narrow selection of the owner's friends. Well, I am one of his friends. Nah, it's a list, and you're not on the list. I know because it hasn't changed for a while now. Sorry, everything else on the bar is up for grabs, though. Sure you don't want anything? You shake your head. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the bleary-eyed patron's shoulder, and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh. Buddy, how's the night going? I've already forgotten what I was trying to go with like a Morpheus thing the last time, and I'm pretty sure I've not only botched that, I've already forgotten what botch I used. Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Well, LawfulStupid, I believe you wanted me here for a good reason. Let's hear it. You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in, all splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartender's. Torque isn't happy with the sight. Well, this isn't what we agreed upon, LawfulStupid. Care to explain? Everybody's using my name a lot more than they used to. Torque meets Sophie. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe LawfulStupid already told you why I'm here. Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different. So, Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick out your protege while I'm at it. No, there we go. I don't know how I fucked that one up. The others I can at least blame on typos. This is just me being stupid. You will like what I have to say. Yeah, I heard that line 100 times. 99 of those ended with somebody getting hurt, and that's not something I'm in the mood for tonight. We're wasting time. There's a unique opportunity we should take advantage of. and we only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will be time to act. My driver is waiting outside. Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Secondly, it's LawfulStupid who was supposed to do the driving, not your servant. Both serve me, so it really isn't. So really, it's of little difference. The circumstances changed, and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk. I'll stop you right there. Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes. My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to take each one of them. I see no reason at all to agree to any of this. I believe I will be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes? Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool. The lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm going to be throwing. You're both acting like children. You need to put your differences aside and see the other's point of view. Both Sophie and Torque glare at you. No powers, just their personas are enough to make you feel like you prefer to be anywhere else but here. Who the fuck do you think you are? There's only one child here, LawfulStupid. You're their patron, Langley. What does that tell us? What are you implying, you insolent? Shots break the front window, and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging on your back and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out, bottles breaking, and TV shattering into pieces. The TV shattering into pieces, the wooden bar splintering. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf, because suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque beside you, and Marty, the bartender, bleeding out on the floor. You look over the bar. Sophie is standing there, her dress partially tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She's like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. So basically, she's Lady Galadriel. I can dig it. In front of her, 8 operatives looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there? Yeah. Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality? Sure thing. The Anarch is gone. It's a blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens to the second, the third. You hear the radios go off on the other soldier's shoulders, a panicked voice pleading them to wake up. The fourth head pops. The fifth. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The sixth man is beheaded by what you now see is just Torque's bare-fisted punch. And this is why you don't fuck with a Bruja. It was pretty obvious he was a Bruja. I'm probably wrong now that I've said it, but I'm sticking with it. Torque stops by the seventh man, rips something off his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. What the fuck? Not thinking twice, you stand up and grab the soldier's head in your hand, and before he can react, you twist. The sickening sound of breaking bone is followed by the crumpling of his limp body. You see Torque is holding a combat knife in his hand, ready to throw. He catches your eye. Beat me to it. Langley? Random tidbit. I actually saw someone with a single knife throw. I think it was a throw. Instantly kill someone in like my first session ever for Vampire the Masquerade. My joke for it is that he threw a knife at him so hard the guy exploded. Because seriously, with that much damage, he basically did. Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him. That meeting's still an item? Yes. I'll take it. Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the Anarch open his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man. Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming and she'll know what to do. Torque, yeah, go and take the back door, LawfulStupid, come on. I really should have actually thought of a real name. I'm regretting that now. You slink back into an alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and one grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away, casually as if this was just another late-night drive, not the crowning of a desperate, complicated night. Sophie brings you all to a luxurious apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a handful few trusted compatriots. It's been used sporadically since. Fancy. You like it? It always felt too modern for my tastes. But what's important is that it's secure. As long as nobody followed your car here. Or the fledgling. Trouble follows this one wherever they go. Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway, and we'll be leaving soon. I hope. So, let's begin. You look to Sophie, excited. Finally, you'll learn what it is you've been working towards for more than a week, and what it is that Kaiser wanted you to participate in. I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard. Why does that not surprise me? Torque sucks air in loudly. That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got proof? No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it. What is that supposed to mean? LawfulStupid, the address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhards and the Baron's regular sharing of blood. And other bodily fluids, if the rumors are true. Ooh, scandalous. Yeah, quick thing. It's not even so much it's not even just the political ramifications of that. Vampires, have a dim view of both physical and romantic relationships. But it's something you don't do. It is a social faux pas in the extreme. That it's between an anarch and a Camarilla prince is even bigger. As in, like, could result in a fucking revolt on both sides and probably the Second Inquisition sweeping through and killing everybody else. Wait, Kaza knew about this? Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in this city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful. That's why you don't fuck with the Nosferatu. Kaiser said something about having plans for me, that he wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right? That is an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. A chaotic landscape makes for a great market for him, unlike a static one. I don't like playing into that creep's hand, but at least now that I'm doing it, devil you know, at least now I know that I'm doing it. The devil you know and all that. What was the address he gave you? They meet regularly at Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around half an hour. Actually, think about that. Is that not, like, the ultimate in bureaucracy? That they have scheduled sexual liaisons. Those are the only time they meet, scheduled on Ellis Island. Hot damn, I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why? Sorry about that. Should have muted it. So you can see the proof for yourself, so that I can make sure too, and so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present to her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know, and the next prince might not look favorably on her past. Dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, I'm sure you've heard. So I did. Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie. What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Remove Panhard and even say I remove Callahan. Then what? Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visits in Elysium, but doesn't allow the Ivory Tower to challenge you. She, or they, have engineered this status quo not for the good of their sects. Sects? Get your minds out of the gutter. That's just dirty. This is a family game here, talking about vampire sex. For their sects. It's a hard word to pronounce. And I run this joke into the ground fucking immediately. But for private gain, it will keep us all in line, because it lets them hold on to power that much longer. And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You cammies will get your butts kicked out of New York City in no time. If you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate it's a risk I am willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been years in the making. I am offering you a chance to square things with Callahan, Torque, and level the playing field. We get rid of these two, and we start from equal footing for the next stage of this dance macabre. Sophie, why am I here? I understand you needed me to set this meeting up, but why am I listening to all this? It's precaution. In a way, it's a shame this Mia you told me of did not make it in time to listen to this too. I can still call her, but it'll probably be an hour before she gets here. We can't wait that long. You will have to suffice. LawfulStupid. I'm risking the prince's or even Callahan's wrath. While I don't think they will dare to lay a finger on me, another set of eyes to watch over the meeting can't hurt. And I did promise I would explain everything in time, haven't I? No, all those years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the kindred dick measuring contests should make me expect a ruse, just a ploy to kill me in some out-of-the-way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking, though. My gut tells me it's time to get this show started. I just noticed that's a really nice coat. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley. Sophie smiles mischievously. Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier. Lead the way, then. Moonlight's burning. The three of you leave the apartment and walk towards the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in New York City where the Prince and Baron could be meeting, it's Ellis Island, a landmark with a dark past, a museum on one hand, a dilapidating piece of history on the other. I can't remember what Ellis Island was. Is that was that the was that where the immigrants, I think it was around World War One, came in on? I don't know. New York was never my strong suit. I'm from Pennsylvania. And don't ask me much about Pennsylvania either. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. Holy hell, I had trouble there. You expected some resistance, a night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or an NYPD patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and subtly as ever. You can see she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all around, still clearly uncertain that this isn't some kind of scheme. Finally, you see it. Light coming from a window in one of the buildings on the edge of the island. The three of you slowly creep near the building and take a look inside the window. There it is, Callahan, and kneeling in front of the prince, sucking on Panhard's wrist. Both fully clothed, a small blessing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he busts through the building's doors. It happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him through the still open door. Callahan hits the ground, hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching. You fucker! You piece of shit! Stop! The prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to have Torque relent, which the Baron uses to the fullest, kicking Torque off and taking advantage of the situation by trying to bite in. Prince, call off your lapdog. Langley, what is the meaning of this? The two anarchs break apart, both wounded but none of them quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred. Kill the bitch, Helen, and leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna... A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to. Who are you? Oh, wait, I remember you! Vaguely? Didn't we only meet him like one time? So entertaining, truly. It feels almost a shame to break up this spectacle, but alas. Thomas? Who the fuck is this joker? Ah, yes, I don't think we've met. Though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and Callahan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss onto the lawn, and the two exchange blows again. Helen, if you'd be so kind and ask your friend not to hurt our guest too much. Callahan, don't kill him! This time, Callahan comes on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Your companion struggles, but can't quite break away. I will not be denied, Helen, not this time. You will do as I command. And she will do as I command, Douglas, old boy. What? Like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for much too long. You think you're so smart, Langley, you and your clique. Figured out that there was something fishy going on all on your own. But you were always working with just a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, LawfulStupid? Sophie looks to you, shocked and disappointed. I have no idea what's going on here. And by that I mean, I'm pretty sure I have like 2/3 of the idea. Which is not good enough for me. I'm used to calling out the plot twists fucking immediately. What am I talking about, you ask? You, fledgling. You don't know, how could you? Only I knew, and your sire, of course. They're the one who agreed to embracing you after some negotiations. You hear a scream and a curse. It's Callahan, whose arm has been nearly ripped off his body. Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the attack. Instead, he's at the edge of the water. He's at the edge of the water in the blink of an eye and disappears into the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora hat. Another actor going off script at the very end, eh? No matter. Let him bring us some amusement now that the production is almost wrapped up. He'll reach his allies. We'll tell everyone of this. Helen, even if we naively assume his nights aren't numbered now that he's in the SI sights, this show must go on one way or another. Won't hurt to encourage leaks and speculation. Sophie looks at you. How could you, LawfulStupid? I saved you. Arturo chortles to himself. Langley. What happened to your self-esteem? You can't really think a simple neonate has outplayed you. Or maybe this oblivious act is your way of groveling for mercy. Thomas, what? You thought that being an expert chess player would always be enough. You never realized the people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going. He motions to the remaining kindred. But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game, you know? And that was, be right back. Okay, back. I'm not gonna go into that. Where was I? Oh yeah. But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game. Playing the game you knew. LawfulStupid, just another pawn placed on the board by my associate. You thought they were your piece since you took them in, but who gave you that idea? You returned to the night when you were judged by Prince Panhard, the woman in red, Sophie. Somebody speaking to her, a man in glasses, the man standing before you now. This is cruel. We know what's going to happen. If only somebody spoke up for the poor child, they could be a useful tool for the Camarilla. Terror creeps onto Sophie's face. Oh, of course, those are not the words you heard, were they? No. You were already grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out and you took it hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was a matter of time before you started using LawfulStupid as your errand boy. Nobody's quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fledgling who's just learning the ropes. What is it that you want, Thomas? What do I want? Oh boy. The answer is so simple but so hard to put into words. Unstable stability, cutting-edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push it to the limit, and then return you to the tried and tested status quo gently, infallibly. A system full of distracting, moving parts which simulate conflict so convincingly that the users never feel a need to direct their energy towards upsetting the system. Achieving the eternal through the disposable. Building a city that's like a ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that has something like an exhaust system for the spirit. Something that, disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it in a single place. None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense. Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the ceiling for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face. Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it in the big leagues. With a theatrical snap of his fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality. Something's changed in the air. You could swear you saw a shadow move behind Sophie. Goodbye, Sophie. A disheveled woman with what looks to be garden shears appears behind Sophie. Fucker! Sophie, I'm sorry. You hear the shears click. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from the shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you. Oh, LawfulStupid, your career is moving at a breakneck pace, moving up and up and up. Let me congratulate you on your promotion. What do you want from me? What's the rush? I was just about to get to that. Well, then feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you. Thomas, I don't think you should shush. You're just being jealous, Adelaide. You're just being jealous. Adelaide, escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please. She looks familiar, but I can't place her. Sure thing, darling. You are left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes. Congratulations! You've won this little game! Set out on a suicide mission, successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant. Even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Her red dress is like a cloth thrown over a mummified corpse. Now you're free to enjoy paradise again! Life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you is, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful when not everyone can partake. You have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you? He takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him, the Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance. You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My own life began right here. Began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation. But it never did. It gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous, intellectual suffering. The more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship. Characters' influence over each other, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate. Once I saw its beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. Fun fact: architect is actually one of the possible personality types, nature and demeanor. Just thought I'd throw that in there. I don't know why. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine. Give it my input wherever needed until it trusted me to do more. Thomas steps over what's left of Sophie. Sophie? What's left of Sophie, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket. And it did. Right, let me look at this city. With my architect's tools, I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors, while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information flow. And among many tools this process gave me, one of them was the way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. Methods I used were crude at times, but the root was there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rulebook passages. The others plan city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows. He puts on the glasses and gives you a long, hard look. You know, I've grown fond of you. You did so well. Even when that idiot Callahan tipped the Inquisition off, you still got out. I like that kind of resourcefulness. I could use that kind of resourcefulness. He uncovers his wrist. So, take my blood. Just enough so we can start off on the right foot. As a sign of good faith. A sign that you're ready to play in the big leagues. Ready to behold the sights I prepared for you. What do you say, LawfulStupid? And that's the end! I was actually right about that being the end game. Well, I hope you all enjoyed, because honestly, I'm having a bit of trouble deciding my opinion on this. On the one hand, I didn't like the railroading that I felt at times, but on the other hand, the plot was actually pretty good. It didn't give you enough time to get all of the plots done in a single playthrough, which I can see both positives and negatives to that. I would have liked to at least finish the coterie in one go. Actually, if I had hyper-focused that, I probably could have. Character-wise, I liked all of them except the Malkavian, Hope. You didn't see her because my recording fucked up. I'm so sorry. I'm humiliated about that. But, yeah, I like pretty much all of them. If you like this game, you can find it on Steam, Good Old Games, just about any place that you can find PC games. I recommend giving it a go, and apparently it deleted my save. I recommend giving it a go for yourself. It's pretty cheap, like $15, I think. 15, 20, give or take. US, of course. I don't know any of the other systems. And if you were interested in this, please consider checking out the tabletop game. It's been going since like the early 90s, late 80s. I mentioned in, I think, the first episode that I'd heard really bad things about 5th edition. Well, V5 is what people call it. I finally got to talk to somebody who actually has played it, and it turns out that I had been misinformed about some of the problems that I alluded to the first time I mentioned it. So, hopefully one day I'll be able to give it a go and give a proper impression on it. And, Bloodlines 2. Not out yet. Sometime this year. Day 1. I will move heaven and earth to get the first video ready day 1. Absolute bare minimum, because you know the game's probably going to be fucking massive and take forever to download. Bare minimum, day 2. Count on it. And then flame me on Twitter when I inevitably fail to get it out by then. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. Seriously, though, if you got any tabletop stories, I'd love to hear them. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.